the food came from pain and suffering, you
Yeah.
know. And if I'm eating more plant-based, you know, that's not painful, you know, like it's not coming from pain and suffering, it's coming from life, you know. It's kind of that plant was made from water and the sun. It's pure energy, you
Yeah.
know, things that brings life, you know. Sun and water, like that's all you need, and air, you know, like that's the nutrients of life. And that's how I looked at it. And when you're eating animals, you know, it comes from pain and suffering. And then when you're eating the actual meat, the flesh, it's like death. You're eating because they're dead. You're literally eating the dead.
Hey guys, and welcome to this week's episode of the Casper Bilton podcast. And we're talking with Korin Sutton. He is an ex-soldier from the U.S. Army. He served 8 years. He was in Iraq and also in the U.S. Marines. Afterwards, he changed his diet to a vegan diet. He went into bodybuilding and won 3 championships. Now he's just talking about like how other people can change their diets, but also how to grow big muscles and just be an incredible athlete.
Hey, nice to meet you. Yeah, big fan. I've been following you a lot on Instagram and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, interested in all the bodybuilding and the sports and stuff. I'm looking forward to hear like your story, and I did some research on you and found like all the bodybuilding. So looking forward to hear about that.
Okay.
Looking also forward to go like way back from like when you started eating plant-based, and like in what state of mind you were in at that point. Because I feel like when I interview people, like there's like a shift in the positive vibe and all this stuff where people are seeking something. I don't know if it's the same for you. And then if we can talk a bit about like how do we address this as like also as a male communicating like these plant-based vibes. And yeah, there's lots of misconceptions, and it's also a bit hard to kind of like hit like men, I feel like. So yeah, like where did it start out with you? Like when was your first plant-based thoughts?
For me, it kind of started when I was in school. It was probably like in maybe somewhere around 2011, I believe, 2011, 2012. And I was in the Navy Reserves at the time.
Yeah.
And I was taking a class called public speaking. And it was like an elective. And I was able to see Gary Yourofsky to speak. So
Wow.
for anyone that's listening and don't know who he is, he's a animal activist, very very big guy. You know, he's been doing this stuff like for years. If you never heard him speak before or don't know who I'm talking about, you could always go on YouTube and watch the video, the best vegan speech ever, and you'll see him pop up like right #1 video. And when he actually came to my classroom and did his speech, and what touched me in this speech was a lot of things he said was very factual. I agreed to a lot of things when it came to the abuse and rape of animals, how animals are treated more like a Holocaust, you know, which it is. Then also, you know, when it comes to the health perspective, that also enticed me as well. When it came down to like heart disease, cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, like a lot of things he said made sense. So when after his speech, that's pretty much when I decided to go more plant-based. And the main reason that speech convinced me was because when he was talking about the animals, I really never realized for a very long time how animals reached my plate. Like I knew they would go to a slaughterhouse, but I didn't know the fashion of how they actually did it, you know, and I didn't realize how much abuse and rape goes on behind the scenes when it comes to to these practices, and everyone does do it differently. Like every country does it differently. I know like up in in the UK they usually like use gas chambers, but like here in America we use multiple techniques. There's like I don't even know if they still do it or not, but I definitely know that in America we've done like boiling techniques with the electroprods and stuff like that, gas and just the guillotine, just slicing their throat. So just the practices and stuff, I just thought it was very vile. And being someone who was in the military for a long time, because I first started in the United States Marine Corps, did that for 4 years, fully active service, and also deployed to Operation Iraqi Freedom 3 and 4. So definitely experiencing combat and being in the military and seeing the worst sides of how people can treat each other. And like I was at that time, I was at the peak of violence. It's like it doesn't get any worse than war, when two countries are fighting against each other. It's just disgusting and it's nasty. And seeing how the same thing can happen with animals, like it's like a secret war that's happening. I always say it's like a secret war that's happening in America, but no one knows about it. Yeah, because we're not a cow, we're not a chicken, we're not a pig, we're not marine animals. So if you're not any of these animals, what is it to us? Like we don't even care to think about it, But once you jump into a life of those particular animals or those selective animals for food consumption, you'll realize that their life is very horrible. And some of the things that, and I know if I thought about it, like, because I painted like this pretty fantasy in my mind, that, oh, the cows get treated nice, they have acres of land to graze on grass and stuff, and they kill these animals when they're old or when they're ready to slaughter. Like I painted a pretty picture, but I think once once you see the reality, and if most people saw the reality and saw the ugly truth about it, then it's like you'll have a bad taste in your mouth. And that's what happened to me. I just had a bad taste in my mouth. And for someone that also served and protect, because that's something I sworn when you become a military personnel, you sworn to serve and protect the innocent. And when you see these animals, you're like, these animals aren't innocent. Like, first of all, we brought them into this world. We bred these animals so they can come into existence just for food consumption. But even on top of that, their lives are horrible. Like they're pretty much treated like slaves, like captives, like they did something wrong for existing, and when you see this type of abuse and violence to these innocent animals, I mean, I don't want to condone to a business that has these type of practices. And, I don't care what company or what farm says what, because I've been on the show called Veganville. It's like, it was on BBC. It's still on there. I know it's on the iPlayer for BBC 3 iPlayer. I know it's that. But we were on last year. It's like a vegan reality show where we were trying to get the whole town of Cardiff in the UK to go vegan. And that was the experience itself. But, even being out there and seeing and being at an abattoir and seeing like how these animals are scared shitless, like there's abuse that goes on, like it has to, because even being in I've been exposed to violent environments, and you can't, there's no person, like I always tell this to someone when they're rebuttaling this and they're like, well, that's just life, just how things go. Like, no, it's not, that's not life. We create this reality, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like nature. Like we created this reality. We created this lifestyle for these particular animals, right? Because we pay for the workers. But I always say, like, if you kind of think about it, and if you don't think like abuse happens, you don't think like rape really happens. And when I say rape, I mean from forced impregnation, when it comes to, getting, because that's how they have to reproduce these animals for free food consumption. So it's forced impregnation to these animals. So without consent, that would be considered rape. And then there's also probably some sexual activity, like, that actually happens, human versus animal, bestiality type crap, shit goes on. Because if you don't think so, think about it. Like, do you think a person who slice an animal throat, or they gas chamber animals all day, like that's what they do? Like, what job do you have that you do a billion different tasks, right? Most people usually have a couple, right? And whatever you do, that's what you do. So if you work on the kill floor, and no matter if you're just sweeping up and mopping shit and blood and guts, or if you're the one that's slicing throats all day, or gassing animals all day, or impregnating animals all day, I don't think you will go home as a normal person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think so. Like, because even me being in the military and being in war, even when I got out, I had freaking problems. I had problems. I had problems just readjusting back to normal society. So if I had issues, right? I can only imagine the person working on the kill floor and just abusing and killing animals all day. I don't think there's a lot of screws. I think a couple of screws is going to be loose. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's a normal act to be doing consistently, like for work 40 hours a week.
I agree. I also think that, or I've also seen that there's some studies on like people working in slaughterhouses that like their health and mindset is like decreasing a lot. And there's also a lot of like suicide people working there. So it is like when you work with that stuff, like it tears you down. Like, for sure.
So I that's just me, and like you said, there's studies, that you looked up. So it just backs up the statement, because I know there's PTSD that goes on in those slaughterhouses. So like, it's not normal. It's not nature. And when people try to say, well, animals kill other animals, well, I don't see lions, when they kill an animal, they have PTSD. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see animals having these type of issues. And then if you want to talk about to a health related standpoint, I never saw like a obese lion. I never saw a lion that had high cholesterol.
Like grabbing the heart while running. Oh my God.
Yeah, it had a heart attack while running and chasing an animal. Like, I never seen these acts, And when lions eat, they eat everything. They eat the guts, the poop, the pee, the intestines, the butthole, the eyeball. They eat everything, So it's not just the meat. They're eating everything. And they don't have health-related issues. So why do people have health-related issues? And, and we carefully slice and dice what particular parts of the animal we want to eat, and actually use for other things. Like, we're supposed to be smarter, we're brighter, but then we're the ones having health-related issues. You know what I'm saying? So, with that said, I mean, that's where it all kind of started, and where I began to go vegan. Like, all that stuff just started running through my head, and I was just like, like, how bad is it to eat just plants? Like, for a very long time, I watched cartoons. Even my mom used to tell me, eat your vegetables, they're good for you. The only difference is actually learning about plant-based nutrition to see how good it really is. And once you dive deep into it, you start to realize that it's very good for you. And you can live 100% normal and perfect on a plant-based diet, as long as it's
hopefully better
out, So that's how it started with me.
I think one of the things you said with cutting stuff, when human eat like plant food, not plant food, like animal food, like when you also watch their plates, like you always see them cutting stuff away, like the fat. So when you look at it like a vegan person's plate, it's like they're almost like licking the plate, and it's like there's like nothing. And then you look at somebody who eats meat, like you have like the fat here, and you have some skin there, and like they never finish the whole thing up, or even like a bone. And I think that's something to think about. Like how can you call this food if you can't eat everything, and you don't, and even when it's like prepared so nice for you, you still don't eat everything.
Not even just prepared, like clean, wash, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on. People don't realize how much really goes on before it even hits the plate. People don't realize all that goes on before it even hits the grocery store. I mean, a lot goes on.
A lot goes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then for you to still nitpick the time the chef gets it and season it up and cook it for you, they're still nitpicking. You know what I mean?
Crazy. That's crazy.
No.
But so like before, like, were you vegan when you were at the military?
Just like 2 years of it. Because I was in the military for 8 years.
Oh,
and
wow.
And I started going vegan while I was in the Navy Reserves. So like this is after the Marine Corps and already after the war. So you know, and when you're in the reserves is part-time. So it's like you don't spend your whole time there. You know, you're not living on the base and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You kind of still have a normal life, you know. So it was good. It was good for me to go to reserves just because it was a good slow transition. Because when I tried just staying out, it was the big part of me that wanted to still be in the military. Because when I first got my first civilian job, it was just a security guard. I didn't feel right. You know, I was just like, I just don't feel right. Like the people I work with, like I went from like, I mean, I don't want to say like the people I work with suck. Like, I don't want to say that, you know, but they were fun people. I enjoyed it, but it's just the camaraderie and like the intensity. Like I went from like elite military force to like security guard in the mall. Like, it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like when you do it, it's like you realize how much, and I think Mall Cop just came out. You know, that one movie called Mall Cop.
Yeah.
Like, so it was like the level of respect of my work ethics went from like here to here real quick. And I noticed like people look at, you know, whatever you wear, however, whatever, you know, I'm wearing a security guard mall uniform. So it's like the respect level is just like, it definitely took a couple notches down. So, for me, it was just like, you know, it didn't feel right because obviously people aren't professional. You know, the people I work with, like I saw people just like calling out of work or, you know, like sleeping on the job. And like in the military, it's like, whoa, you sleep on the job? Like what? You know, it's like a big thing, you know, but when you work regular jobs, it's like, you know, people do their own thing, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it was a big change. So that's why I did the reserves, because I was like, I need some type of structure. Like, maybe I don't want to be out, you know? So I was kind of like in that gray area, like, let me do the reserves and be part-time. So at least I can figure this out, you know, see if I want to go back active or see if I want to continue my civilian life career. And then eventually, once I finished doing all, eventually about 2 years in, and then when I heard that speech, that's when I realized, you know, I want to be out in the military. Because once I heard the speech, it was like, I knew there was a lot of things I needed to change from within. And it was really that aggressive part of me being in the military. I wanted to shut it off. You know, I just wanted to shut it off. I didn't appreciate it because I felt like there was a lot of things when it came to eating meat that was kind of tied to even the job I did. Because even being a security guard, like I quit that. I quit I quit that first before even I went vegan. But I quit. I didn't want to do any job that was uniform. I didn't want to do a job that required me to put me into harm's way and violence. So, yeah, because I was just like, I felt like everything that I was doing, even to the food I ate, violence, pain, and suffering had some type of attachment to it. Yeah. And when I realized that, I was like, you know, I want to do something that actually helps people. You know, like I want to do the opposite of what I'm doing, because if I want to bring peace, like in the military, peace is by force. You know that when you're in the military and you want to bring peace, You force a piece.
Yeah.
It's forced upon you. You know, it's like it's our way or no way. That's it. You know, it's forced upon on. You know, it's like if you
and
need
then
to
you're
call
just hoping that the bigger picture is okay.
Yeah. So with me, I was just like, you know, let me do something opposite. And I was doing at the time I was doing personal training part-time as a part-time job. And this was only because I wanted I always loved working out. I've been working out since I was 13. You know, obviously being in the military, it's the job I had, it was very physically active. Yeah. So working out and staying in shape was always part of my lifestyle. But I figured, well, you know, this guy's hiring it, you know, let me check it out. Maybe I can learn some stuff because I do work out and I've been training on my own. You know, a lot of stuff that I learned was just things I read in magazines or through the military. So once I started doing that, that's why I kind of, my mind was just like, well, you're good at personal training, you know, and you are helping people. How about you do, and if and then the second part of another idea came up, and it's like nutrition plays 80% of this, you know, and you know that like people really need to be eating healthy. So like when I figured this out and I just found out about veganism and then I was already doing personal training, I was like, how about personal training with the vegan nutrition, man? Like, I think people need to do this. So once I figured that out, I was like, well, first, before I even get that far ahead of myself, let me just work on myself and see how far I can do. And then that's when I changed my major. It was from criminal justice to exercise science and physiology. Started taking a lot of nutrition courses and became a nutritionist as well. You know, and throughout my transition, because I did go pescatarian first, I went vegan. Once I went pescatarian, then I transitioned into veganism. It only took me a couple of months because the classes I was taking was teaching about plant-based nutrition actually at the time. So it was perfect timing. And when I saw that, when I started taking nutrition courses and they were already talking about plant-based nutrition at the time, I was like, well, I guess I'm on the right track. Yeah, because I always look at life like that. I was like, if you take, like, there's signs that the universe gives you, you know, it's just like my first nutrition class, they were already talking about plant-based and they showed us forks over knives. And I was like, oh wow. What? This is awesome, you know? So when I saw that, I was like, I guess this vegan stuff's real because like, it's the first time I ever heard it. And, you know, and my school's actually teaching about it and it's recommending, they were actually endorsing that it is possible at the time because there wasn't a lot of studies backing it up at that time, saying that the plant-based diet is legit, you know, saying that it was one of the top diets out there when it comes to health and wellness.
What school was this?
It was Broward College, man. Like it's just just a community college. I started off there. So was
the teacher vegan or what? Like,
I tell you the truth, I'm not for sure. And even with the professor for the public speaking class I was taking, I'm not for sure if he was vegan either. No. Yeah, but I assume he was, for him to have Gary Yourofsky speaking. I would assume he was. Yeah. But with the other teacher, I don't know. I don't know if the nutritionist was, because for her to play that, it was either she was vegan or she was vegetarian or transitioning. You know, and definitely got her
mindset just to find that movie.
Yeah, just to find it and start showing it, because like to show a documentary in your classroom, and that was the only one she showed. She didn't show anything else about meat, cool. Or anything else. She showed that. And that was it. That was the only video she ever showed in that classroom. So I would only like, and this is the first time I actually thought about it too, since we're talking. It's just like, look, thinking about it, it's like, you know, I would assume she was one of those three, like transitioning, vegan, or vegetarian at least.
Of course.
One of those things.
I just want to jump a bit back to like why you signed up for the military back then.
Well, it's multiple reasons. I have billions of reasons, but like, One reason was because I know like when the 9/11 happened, I felt like I wanted to do something about it, and then also I had family members that was in the military themselves.
Okay.
Then like my dad was in the Army, my granddad was in the Navy, so I have family members that did serve, and I always thought that was cool. And then you could think about, there was also like, I guess, childhood tuitions and dreams, you could say, because like I always played with GI Joes when I was a kid, and then I was also and also played video games, so that probably had an influence as well. And if y'all listening, if you're going to the military just for video games, then don't do it. Like it's not like a game. Right. And then
you don't get to start over.
yeah. When shit gets real, it gets real really fast, right? Yeah. And it's a rude awakening. And then also I would say some of the reasons, like multiple reasons. Some of the reasons too is when I was in high school, I did it's a program that my high school had, and it was like it was a Navy Junior ROTC. So it means like Navy. It means it's NJROTC. So it means Navy Junior Recruitment Officer Training Cadets, I believe. Okay. And what it is, it's almost like Boy Scouts or like a military for kids, but they take out all the bad things and then they make it like it's fun and it's cool. They show you all the cool shit. Yeah. And the only thing you do is all the cool stuff. So like you wear the uniforms, they teach you how to march, like, the physical training. They even had you shoot guns and stuff. They had like the 20, like these 22s or these BB guns. I don't know, some type of gun that you could use, and they show you how to shoot, aim and shoot and things like that. So it was dope, and I was like, well, if this is the military, and then every time you do something great, they give you a ribbon. So I was like, damn, if military's like this is awesome, So it's like, it was a lot of things, it was a lot of things that made me think about that and made that decision. And I think, and I also think, because no one really never asked me this before, but it's also too, I want to say this, is that the going to college. I think I did have a small fear going to college. Okay. And the thing was, and the reason is because first, my mom didn't have money. Like my mom didn't save up any money and stuff for me to go to college. I really didn't have any scholarships and stuff for me going on. I mean, the only thing I had was I had this job opportunity getting out of school to work for Motorola, and pretty much that's it. I mean, that's the only thing I had. And when it came to going to college, I kind of struggled a tad bit in high school. I mean, I graduated and stuff. It wasn't a problem with graduating, but I just known that when it came to like school and English, I kind of struggled, and it kind of put a fear in me from that. And I thought like if I went to college, it would be even harder. Like I felt like kind of mentally burnt out of learning. Yeah. So I thought and since I was really good in the military and I liked the things I was doing, I went. But to kind of shorten it's a story, because I can talk about this all day, and it could really, I don't want to waste too much time explaining this, but to fast forward, once I went into the military, there's a lot of learning there. Yeah. And it's like, and the learning curve is super fast. It's like they like it's the next level of learning. Like it's worse than college. You know what I'm saying? Like even for me, for going to school in college, like going to university and all this crap, like it's military training is way harder, because when they give you knowledge and stuff, I mean, they like force it into your brain, you know what I'm saying? And it's like really, really fast. Everything's fast paced, and you have to get everything like that, like you have to be on top of your stuff. And once I got out and I started going to school again, and that was because, one of my friends told me about it, and I explained the same story to him. I told him like, yo, I kind of struggle. And he's like, look, two things why you should go to school. He's like, first, you've done a lot for the military, and what has the military really done for you, when it comes to like things you can do on the outside. Like you don't have no future plan on the outside just in case something happened. You don't have a plan B, you know? And then second, he said, like, if you go to school, you have benefits that can go take you to school for free. So, and he's like, don't be scared of school, because he's like, there's two things. He's like, number one, you're in South Florida. So when you started going to school in South Florida, the school system sucks. He's like, the teachers suck. You don't suck. You're smart as hell. Yeah. He told me straight up, he was like, you're smart as hell, dude. He's like, it's the teachers. They don't know how to teach. No. Yeah. So he's like, that's number one. And number two, he's like, when you go to school, you have an application called Rate My Professor. So he's like, you use that app and you find a professor who's rated no lower than a 4. And, you know, because like 5 stars, they're perfect. 4 is really good. You know, 3 is average, you know, and then obviously 2 and 1 is like, you don't want to go work with these people. Right. So like, he showed me that app and he's like, you pick your professors, you can pick who can teach you. And he's like, I'm telling you, use this app for all your classes. You're going to get an A, because he told me when you use that app, it's going to tell you if the professors are good or not. And this is ratings from students, you know, and every time I took a professor who had a rating of 4 or 5, I mean, I was walking out of that classroom with an A or B average, cool. You know. And it was all because it was exactly what he says. It was because of the teaching. Because I took classes that there was teachers who was the 3, and I got out. Like I quit because I saw how they were teaching style, and everything was by the book. They weren't really explaining it to make you understand. They're kind of just reading shit off. You know? And
that's the worst.
But they're not, you know what I'm saying? They're not really educating or breaking the information down so people can understand. You know, they're just saying things verbatim through textbooks. So when I noticed that, I was like, you know, that I want to say, like, going in the military kind of also build more confidence in myself when it comes to education. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. How do you feel like the plant-based diet helped your recovery from the military? Or do you think it even helped?
Oh, what do you mean by like overall, or just in the physical?
Or did it have any helping mechanisms, like choosing the plant-based road after seeing and trying all this stuff in the military?
I mean, going vegan helped me a lot in so many different ways, because, you know, first, the health perspective, you know, my skin became clearer, had more energy, continued to put on more muscle. A lot of things, you know, digestion issues started to subside, you know, like a lot of things. Don't feel bloated all the time. You know, like things just kind of go through my body. You know, I'm stooling more, a whole bunch of stuff. Like even my body odor is better, you know, like just small things like, just even things like that. Yeah, seriously, like even small things like that, like even my body odor. Like I tell people, I don't wear deodorant. Like I only thing I wear is I wear like what is it called? Scented oils, you know, like I wear that because obviously, like, once you go vegan, you know, and you start going deeper into health and fitness, you start looking at everything else. You're like, I wonder what else is bad for me. Yeah. You know? And when you start going down that rabbit hole, you start realizing a lot of stuff out there is bad for you, you know? So now I wear scented oils. I don't put deodorant. And even going through that experiment, you know, I know this is kind of off topic with the vegan stuff, but like, you know, there's a lot of aluminum and heavy metals in those deodorants, you know, and that stuff blocks off a lot of your lymph nodes in the armpit. And I remembered when I quit deodorants and I started using essential oils, it took about like 2 weeks for my body odor to go back to normal, because it was just detoxifying all the crap that those deodorants was clogging up. Like it was just detoxifying, and then eventually just went away. And even my shirts, like I remember my shirts would get ruined by these deodorants. And when I found out why your shirts get ruined with deodorants, because that's all the metals that's in there, you know? So if it's clogging up and caking up your shirt, imagine what it's doing into your own body. Yeah. You know, like, and when I realized that, I was like, oh, hell no. And now essential oils. Yeah, I don't use lotions. I use coconut oil, stuff like that. And freaking, my skin's way healthier and better.
Yeah.
You know?
So
But
I met my girlfriend a couple years after I went vegan. She's vegan as well. But the first thing she said about that stuff was like, if you don't feel like you can eat it, don't put it on your body.
yeah.
Like, and I think that's like really clever, because like the skin organ is like, it's like one of the biggest organs you have on your body.
Biggest organ.
It is the biggest organ. Yeah. So like, why would you put stuff on here and it absorbs so much, which you wouldn't put in here?
Yeah, because we don't think about it, and then we're just bombarded by commercials, So it's like we don't think about it. We're just consumers, and we're just like, hey, they say like it's going to rehydrate my skin. Why not? Like, okay, I'll do it. It looks cool. All the ad looked pretty dope. Like all the graphics, and her skin looks like it's glowing. All this crap. Yeah, let me try it out. It's like, I think that's why, but we don't really think twice.
Yeah. Then at the same time, when you eat meat, like you have a heavier smell, so you probably also would do what you can to like stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really interesting, actually, how like it just affects everything. But my question was also, it's maybe a stupid question, I don't know, because you hear about with like military people that they also like mentally have a heart problem afterwards. And also you can see studies. Now I follow all of the plant-based doctors, but also they see studies how plant-based food also reacts on the, like, for the brain, because you give all the nutrients and you're back on your carbs. And so I just had a thought that maybe when you have like mental problems after being to war, you would probably recover faster when you get the brain the nutrients. I don't know. It was just a quick thought.
Well, from a mental perspective, but I don't want to say like it was all because of vegan, because like I did do other things too, like that kind of
course,
attach yourself to the vegan foods and to the foods itself.
Yeah.
So for example, like during that transition, I did start going to like a Buddhist temple, and I was going pretty frequently, like almost like I would say on average like two times a week, 2-3 times a week for like a year, and then it kind of reduced after that. But like when I was going like very aggressively, I kind of was attaching all of those things too, because I was doing a whole, I guess, trying to find myself, doing a lot of soul searching, finding myself, trying to see like where to go next from here, because it was like I was, when you leave the military, and I know most military, if anyone's from the military and listening to this, there's like a huge disattachment that you when you leave, it's like you feel like you left a big part of you. And especially for someone like myself, I joined when I was 17. So imagine like, right out of high school, you're going to pretty much an adult world, you know, and you're doing missions and jobs, that's life threatening. It's like this, you have to do everything right, because if not, someone can get hurt, someone can die, like it's not you can't be bad at it. It's one of those jobs where you can't really be bad. No. You have to be really good. Like it can't afford mistakes, So when you're pressured like that at such a young age, and then try and get out of that and trying to find what else you're good at, it was pretty difficult. So going to like the Buddhist temple too kind of played a role with that, because, being in the military is very aggressive. It's not, it's, especially in Marine Corps, it's very aggressive environment, very, very aggressive. So like trying to revert that to become more peaceful, more calm, and things like that, and reverting from that aggressive lifestyle to a more calming and peaceful lifestyle, it took a while. It took a while, a lot of meditating, a lot of classes, a lot of teachings, even connecting the food with that, because how I looked at it, it was, the food came from pain and suffering, and if I'm eating more plant-based, you know, that's not painful, you know, like it's not coming from pain and suffering. It's coming from life, you know. It's kind of that plant was made from water and the sun. It's pure energy.
Yeah.
You know, things that brings life, you know, sun and water. Like that's all you need, and air, you know, like that's the nutrients of life. And that's how I looked at it. And when you're eating animals, you know, it comes from pain and suffering. And then when you're eating the actual meat, the flesh, it's like death. You're eating because they're dead. You're literally eating the dead. You know. So I kind of connected it emotionally like that, especially through all the teachings and stuff. And I just went with that. You know, I was like, yeah, it makes sense to me.
What was the best learning from the temple? Like I've always actually wanted to do that, but I've never done it yet.
Well, I mean, it's all depending what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a specific answer. It's just, what are you looking for when you go? Are you looking for enlightenment, you know, freedom, peace? Like it depends. Yeah. Like for me, it was just finding myself. Like I wanted to have a bigger purpose in life. You know, I wanted more peace in my life. You know, I felt like I said, like everything I did, it felt like my environment was always about, like, even it was about pain, suffering, death. Like even in the military, you sing cadences, like songs while you're exercising and running, about killing things and people and blowing people up. And it's like when you're there, you're not thinking about it. It's like, it's motivating, it's hardcore, you know, you feel like you're the shit, you know what I'm saying? Like you feel good when you say it. And I feel that, I'm not trying to discredit the military. I think you need to have that type of skin, you know, you need to have that tough skin, because that's the only thing that's going to keep you alive. Because when you're in the battlefield, shit's real, man. Yeah. Like you can't be some peaceful dude. Like I think peaceful guys will get fucking murdered out there, you know, like it's not, it gets real, you know? So for me, you know, I didn't want to live it anymore. Like because I've seen too many people who's been in it too long. I've seen people who died. I've seen people who's still affected by all the things we did from the past. You know, when that stuff starts taking a toll in your body. And I noticed I was like, for me, like I felt like it was taking a toll, but like I kind of didn't care, you know, because for me, I loved it, you know, but I just knew it wasn't, I knew that there was a better version of me somewhere, you know, and I wanted to find that person, and I did, you know, and so like for me, that's where it came to, you know.
Okay, makes sense. I'm going to jump a bit, because where does all the bodybuilding fit in all this timeline?
The bodybuilding kind of happened after a year being vegan. It was mostly just because, like, I had a lot of friends who was at the time like they were trying to push me into it because they saw my transformations. Like they were just like, dude, you look amazing, bro. Like before like just being vegan, I was ripped. You know, when I went pescatarian, I got ripped. But once I went fully vegan, like I just looked good. Like, and people could tell, like people could see from my skin, people could see like my abs, you know, just my body, how it's moving around. Like people were just like, damn, like, you know, it's just like you're more vibrant and you just look great, bro. Like, and a lot of my friends was just like, yo, you ever looked into bodybuilding? And I was like, no, man. Like, because to me, in my mind, when someone says bodybuilder, I'm thinking like Ronnie Coleman.
The extreme ones.
Like these extreme dudes, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't know there was like different levels to it, you know what I'm saying? And all these and different types of competitions. So, when he showed me one of his friends that was doing it, and he looked like crap, you know, he showed me one of his friends and he looked like crap, and he told me straight up, he's like, look at my friend, bro. And I was like, he's a bodybuilder? He's like, yeah, he looks like shit. He's like, that's what I'm trying to tell you, you could do it. He's like, if this could do it, like, like you could do it, man. You kill it in there, you know, like look at this guy, you know. And I was like, I started laughing, and because we were out drinking beers, and I was like, all right, cool, let me try it out. So I kind of went into it, and at the same time, you know, I started thinking more about it too, because when I started looking for like a bodybuilding coach, because at first I was like, first of all, I don't even know where to start, you know. I was like, how do you even get into this stuff, you know? So I started going online trying to look for a coach and stuff, and I eventually ran into one. To make a long story short, but that's when once I started getting into the training, that's when I kind of tied in, and I was like, maybe since I'm doing this, maybe like, and because even my coach was like, "You're vegan," like when I told him, and he never had a vegan person. He's like, oh, I'll work with you. I'm still with the guy. His name's Dave Bowden. But he was like, "Hey, let's try it out. You be my first vegan bodybuilder I ever trained in my life. Nice. We'll see how far this goes, because he's like, you look good now. He's like, so you work with me. I think we could do some damage, Yeah. Then after that, once we started training, that's when I figured out, like, maybe I could do this and, promote veganism, because, bodybuilding, a lot of people eat meat. My coach was surprised that I was vegan. I wonder if I start promoting it, what other people would think. I think it'd be a good message to put out there. And then I just started to do that. I started buying books. And this is when Facebook started getting a lot better. Instagram started to come out by this time frame. And then everything was at its infant stage. But that's when I found like Vegan Bodybuilding and Fitness Facebook group. And it's not there anymore. It's kind of gone.
That was a cool site. I was up on that site as well.
Yeah. I mean, when they had that first Facebook group before they shut it down and did all this stuff to it, I mean, it was the shit, you know. But now it's gone. But yeah, I mean, at the time it was great, man. Like I started learning, and next I started winning shows and just kept on going. And more shows I started winning, more attention I was getting. People were like, "Damn, like you're going, that's vegan crap, that's crazy," And then I just started going with it, after that, especially with all the knowledge and everything I knew about fitness and stuff. I got a degree in exercise science. I'm a master fitness trainer now and stuff like that. So with all the knowledge and throughout the years, as I grew with the bodybuilding, I grew as a trainer. My education, everything about nutrition, stuff like that grew as well. And then I started preaching more about it. Like I started getting more aggressive. So the more I learned and the more I won, throughout the years, the more aggressive I started becoming when it came to spreading a vegan message, because like obviously when you're in the beginning, you don't know anything, and when you get in these arguments and debates with people, you kind of lose at them, because only thing you know is what you saw from one guy, or that one book, like. But then after the years, after reading all the documentaries and reading all the books and with continuing education and all the stuff, like, you just start getting better and better at your craft and really start spitting out facts. Like, and then after that, you're just like, you're unstoppable after that,
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Like how, I've never talked with somebody like going to bodybuilder championships and stuff like that. So like, how does a day look up until a competition?
Well, it's nothing that much different from what I'm doing now, because what I teach people, I own an online business called Body HD Fitness, right?
Yeah.
And what I teach my students is that fitness needs to be a lifestyle, right? Yeah. So that means that how you eat, the things you eat, the days you train, and all the stuff, it has to be consistent. It has to be very consistent. It's almost like brushing your teeth. Like you brush your teeth every single day. It's very consistent. You take a shower every single day. It's very consistent. So the more consistent you are when it comes to nutrition and exercise, the healthier you're going to be, the better you're going to look, the better you're going to feel, things like that. So how my body looks today is a ripple effect of all the things I've done in the past.
Yeah.
All right. That's all it is, So when I teach people about lifestyle choices and making fitness a lifestyle, it's what I do. Like I usually count macros. Yeah. So this is using an application called MyFitnessPal to keep track of all the foods that I'm eating. I make sure I'm eating the right amount of foods. I work out religiously. I train about 5-6 days out of the week, like, do I have days that eat like a little bit of junk food here and there? Yeah. There's days, but it's not frequent. And if it is, and if I do eat more than I need to, mean, I'm tracking it. I'm eating the right amount of portions. I'm not just eating randomly and unconsciously. I'm very selective of what I eat. And I try to teach this to my students and tell them that you need to be more conscious of what you eat, not just picking out things because you're hungry. Be more conscious, because it's like, if you eat McDonald's every single day, what do you think is going to happen to you? You know,
it's going to look like
you know, it's fast food. You know, it's fast food. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, you will gain weight. You know, like soda, French fries, and a burger is not a recipe for a healthy body. You know what I'm saying? Like, even calorically is very high. You're looking at 500 to 800 calories. You know, especially depending on the size of drink you get. You know, one large drink, especially in America, the large drinks looks like extra large or double XL. Like, seriously, they're huge, man. And it's like, you know, one large drink, I mean, you're talking about like almost 300 calories right there. You know, it's like, it's crazy. But if you don't know that, and you're just like, you're getting the large drink because you just like Coke or Pepsi or whatever, you just like soda, you know, you're not realizing all the damages you're actually doing to your body. You're not realizing or consciously know how many calories you're actually putting into your body. And all this, if you're eating too much and not eating the right foods, it's all going to turn into fat, and it's going to make your body act all out of whack. Like, it's not going to be healthy. So that's, for me, when it comes to the show, there's really no difference. You know, going back to the question, it's like, there's no difference of what I do. The only difference is that it is the portions. Like, if I'm not competing, my portions is bigger. But if I'm competing, my portions are more control and it's a lot less. You know, but that's the only difference. The training doesn't change that much. You know, the food doesn't change that much. Like I said, it's really just the portions. And that's it. You know, that's the only difference. I might train a little bit more imposing because I don't do that every day. Like, I don't do that frequently. Yeah, but like, if I'm getting ready for a show, I'm going to start posing again, you know, start practicing in front of the mirror about 3-4 days out of the week, or, you know, sometimes every day, you know, depending, you know, like where I'm at, or how I feel. But that's it. There's no difference, you know.
How about, like, with your knowledge about plant-based food, and then when you look at a bodybuilder who's not plant-based, I don't know what kind of mistakes do you think that they're doing? Does it make sense? Like, if you see
like the difference from an animal-based bodybuilder versus a plant-based one?
Like, if you look at the nutrition maybe, and you're thinking, sometimes I do see this sometimes, that some athletes, they're struggling a bit, and I feel like I have a knowledge which is probably because of the plant-based. So when you have that, when it can also be maybe a student who's maybe not fully plant-based, like, what do you see that a plant-based diet would like help and maybe make the life easier for a bodybuilder?
I mean, the only thing I could really say is that when it comes to bodybuilding itself, and coming and answering this question more from a health perspective, I would say that most bodybuilders just don't eat enough plants. Like, they don't eat enough vegetables. You know, that's the only thing really, because that's because when it comes to the competition, I mean, they look great. You know, it's not like, oh, I look the best. I've lost shows. You know what I'm saying? I've lost shows. There's shows that I didn't get first place, you know, like, because for someone in my position, I look at bodybuilding, especially for the statement I'm trying to put out there. It's like, I have to be number one so people can say like, oh, like, well, who beat you? Like, nah, you know, because if whoever beat you, they're always going to say, well, meat, you know, he ate meat, you know what I'm saying? So like, what I try to do is I always go in with a mindset like, I want to be number one. I want to be number one, because it's like, I don't want any excuses. You know, I want to really show like how powerful. And I've won multiple first places, but also, you know, won different placing as well. Like, you know, second, third. I mean, I won fifth one time. There's shows I didn't win. You know, when I went to nationals 2 years ago, I lost twice. You know, I didn't even win those shows. So, but when it comes more from a health perspective, I would just say like the vegetable intake. Like, most bodybuilders, diets are very bland. They're not eating enough vegetables. They're not even eating vegetables that's more nutrient dense. It's mostly like corn or broccoli and potatoes. Like they have nutrients, but it doesn't have a lot.
What would these
like
vegetables help them with?
What you said?
And what would these vegetables? What would they help them with? Like if they.
What do you mean?
Yeah, like if they feel like, hey, I'm a strong guy. Like, why should I eat more vegetables? Because my diet is fine. And look,
they're looking at it from they're looking at it more from a bodybuilding perspective, not from a health and wellness perspective. So because when it comes to like dark leafy greens and certain vegetables, it's said within the bodybuilding world. Like I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I mean, I think it's wrong, but what they'll say is that all the fiber from eating too many vegetables can create a lot of bloating, Yeah. But if you look at it more from a health and wellness perspective, the bloating is coming. It's not just from the fiber. It's because it's trying to detoxify all the crap that's in your system. So that's why there's bloating. Like it's kind of normal when if someone went from an animal-based diet straight to plant-based, it's normal. Like I've seen students get bloated and they'll say, "Oh, I'm bloated," and I'm like, "This is normal because your body's really trying to detoxify like all the crap, all the bad bacteria that's in your microbiome." So
bloating is actually a good thing.
It would subside, because it would subside, and once it subsides, then your body, when all that bad bacteria from breaking down meat is gone, then the bloating will stop. And because I've done shows where I've eaten like 70 grams of fiber. I'm not bloated. I'm ripped. I'm super lean. My abs feel very tight. So things like that. But it's just things like that. You want to say maybe from a wellness side, they feel like they fear fiber. And then also, and I guess because of the protein element too, because there's not a lot of protein in most vegetables, which, you can get protein from vegetables, especially if you can get a lot of protein on a plant-based diet, as long as you measure it out right. I mean, I'm a bodybuilder, I'm doing fine. I eat about 200 grams of protein a day. I can get that, and I'm getting it all through plants. It just has to be planned out right and guided. You can't just randomly eat things. And also the knowledge, the education behind plant-based nutrition, a lot of bodybuilders don't know, because it's a animal-based diet. It's more dominant as an animal-based diet thing, so those are some of the reasons.
So if meat is not what makes you strong, like what food makes you strong?
If meat doesn't make you strong?
Yeah, if meat doesn't make you strong, because I think that's what people think. Like the more meat I can eat, the stronger I am. But if it's not the meat, like what is it that makes us strong, like athletes?
Oh, well, this may have to be the last question because I have to go. But
yeah, that's okay. Sorry.
But the thing is that no, I mean, you could. I can't say that meat doesn't make you strong, because meat does make a lot of people strong. There's a lot of athletes who eat animal-based diets. I just feel that when it comes to a plant-based diet, it's not necessary to consume an animal-based diet to be strong. You can get it through a plant-based diet. You can get, and some of the benefits of it is because, if you're an athlete, the recovery is faster because you're eating foods that just has more anti-inflammatory properties. You're getting more vitamins and minerals from these foods. And it's not something, some people might listen to this like, oh, well, fact check or Google. You don't have to do all that. Just go download MyFitnessPal, or just grab probably just use the app MyFitnessPal and scan a banana, and it'll tell you all the nutrients right there, and then scan a piece of meat and see what happens. It's going to show you nutrition facts right there. It's not something, because some people like using studies and stuff. I'm like, it's just common sense. Just look at the nutritional fact labels. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
You know, there's apps that just tells you what that is. You know, it's like you don't have to do a study. Like it's all add and subtract. It's like you get 200% of vitamin A from kale versus how much vitamin A you can get from a steak. Like it's just, you know, like 0%. You know, like so it's just like you just look at the math. I mean, it's just right there. Yeah. So when it comes to it, like that's how I look at it. And when it comes to more health. So it's like I said, like it's not something that you can't be strong. I just think it's unnecessary, you know, and especially and then from an ethical side, because there's so much pain and suffering that revolves with the other animals and other living beings. Like, why can't we just do it an alternative way where we don't have to harm living things? You know, like if someone's thinking like, well, plants are living, like you're thinking kind of stupid, you know, like, because it's just like, if I cut an apple from a tree, it's going to grow another apple. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like if I cut a wing off of a chicken, the wing's not going to grow back. You know, you have to develop a whole new chicken. Yeah. But that chicken will not grow another wing. No. Yeah. Because it's just like the tree. Like as long as I don't cut the tree, you're not going to cut the tree to get the apples. You just want to pick the apple from the plant. And if I want to grow another apple tree, a whole tree to grow even more apples, I'll just take the seeds and put it in the dirt.
Or even just a branch.
Yeah. You know, and it's going to grow. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, there's not that much. I'm not trying to be a purist, but at the same time, like we have to think a little bit better, you know, and just look at it that way. It's just like, it's kind of common sense, really, if we put in that perspective. And that's it. It's just like, you know, I'm not seeing the apple bleeding. You know, I don't see guts and poop and screaming and all this stuff happening to an apple. Like I don't see it happening. You know, but for a cow, if I kick it or stab it and do whatever with it, I can feel and see all of that. You know, I know when I see an animal in pain. I know if I see an animal sick. I know if the animal is happy. Yeah, like you can see the expressions, you know. So it's like, that's how I look at it. So, you know, that's the only thing I could say about that.
Yeah, well, I think that's a perfect ending as well. Mm-hmm. Like some good, nice statements, and super cool that you wanted to talk to me, and I could use some of your time. I have a bunch of other questions. Maybe I'm lucky in the future I can call you up again.
No doubt, man.
Over. But yeah, so much thanks for everything, man.
No problem.
And just keep on doing what you're doing, because like it works. I can see it.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. And just the last thing, if anyone wants to follow me, my name's Korin Sutton. You can follow me at Instagram at Korin Sutton or Facebook, just do the same thing. And then if you're interested with like online training or nutritional advice, you can go to bodyhbfitness.com.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I'll also write a nice thing about all that, so they have links and everything.
All right, cool.
Yeah, thank you, Korin. That was nice to meet you. Bye.
And it never gets old. It never gets old. Feel my heart ache when you do me wrong. Now I just wanna know. The chains I bear are often on my feet, and it makes me wanna cry when I see you come near. And in the dark you said you only wanted me, and then you make me feel alone.